Hey, okay. So I was actually thinking the other day about how the hell did I get where I am today? I don't freaking know. And a lot of my family have been talking about how, like, they say that they're worried about me and stuff. I totally get it, and I feel really bad, and I don't really understand what has happened. I really don't know. Besides maybe just being like irresponsible and not really making the best decisions, especially when it comes to finances and my career. I guess I didn't really think through the career that I had, that I got into, because I was so scared of not having a job, as I had got laid off um, late 2019, and I got laid off, and I didn't have a job for like 3 months, and it scared the shit out of me. And I didn't really know what to do. So I was applying for jobs, and this job was the first job that actually made an offer. And so, out of fear, even though looking at how I was going to take a big cut in pay and things, I kind of saw that, yeah, if I do things right, it'll work out and it wouldn't matter. And I would just have these extra side gigs and all of that stuff. So that's kind of where my mind was, and plus I was scared, and it was the only job that I had an offer with. So I was like, okay, I'll take it, kind of thing. I have to work my ass off, get licensed, all of those things, and like kind of be like self motivated to, teach myself all of those things. So whenever that happened, of course I had side gigs. I had just moved into a new house, a new rental house, because my lease had just ended. And so when that happened, I had gigs lined up to be able to afford the house. Well, COVID happened, and we actually moved the same week that everything shut down, because it was even hard for us to get internet because of COVID. We had to wait like a week. We had to wait like a week and a half to get internet and cable because of COVID. People weren't coming out. Excuse me. So that's kind of like what happened. And then of course my demos and side gigs, they kind of quit. Entertainment business was just shut down after that. And so then after all of that, I just got really scared, and I couldn't accept any like financial help from the government and things like that, because I still I had a job, and I couldn't do it. So um that's basically like what happened. And then we took like a pay cut for a while from work, which I thought was so dumb, because they actually got like that PPP loan, but they cut our salary. Anyways, anyway, I guess it was just like to like balance everything out. I don't know. You know how businesses are. So that is kind of like what happened with all of that nonsense. Then it took me like a year and a half to finally like pass my test, get, apprenticed. And then now I will come out of my apprentice in August. So I'm still like considered a baby at work, where I don't really do or can do very much on my own, because I'm under a person, and under, a leader, an elder, as you would say. So that's kind of like where I'm at with that. And it's kind of been hard to pick up the momentum back. Also, one of my gigs that I usually do, I they stopped doing that. And that happens. Like, that's what happens when you have like brand ambassador jobs or like marketing jobs. If you're like, even if you're in a contract, like they can like cut the contract like really quick. So when that happens, you're kind of like shit out of luck. I've learned through the years that making sure you have more than one, because having more than one, if one gets cut, you have a backup plan. And you want to make sure that you have one that's consistent every weekend, and another one that where you can pick up sporadically and make your own schedule. Because then if there is a week that you were supposed to be scheduled that weekend, and let's say they don't have any availability whenever you're working the one that has you that gives you demos every week, then what happens is if you don't have any, you can at least go pick up where there's lag in that reoccurring demo, promotion that you're working with the individual person or brand, whatever it may be. So that's kind of like what I've always done. Now, there has been times where there hasn't been a lot of that going on, so I've had to do like other things, which is, working like at a department store, which has it's a help. It's a help. However, it's not as much as I make when I do demos. But I can at least work during the week in the evening after I'm done at the office. Because, of course, right now my pay structure isn't as it would be if I were, as a lead or things like that, like a fully licensed person. So that's kind of why I'm in like this slump. And I really hope that after all of this, that this changes after I get like my license, I get out of my apprenticeship. So I really hope that that helps. And so I really am hoping that things do turn around, this summer. I'm starting to pick up some momentum. Yes, my pay structure for the way I perform is a little bit different, so I get like a portion of that. So it's still a little bit struggling, so I have to work like essentially 3 times harder to make the amount of money that I need to make to be able to survive, as opposed to if I were fully licensed, where I wouldn't have to do as much. But yes, as much, but not stress as much. Let me put it that way. But then at that time, it's a different type of stress that I'll have, and that's kind of a whole new circus, I guess you should say. However, so that is essentially like what's been going on, and my family's been really like worried about me because I've been struggling a little bit, a lot of it financially, but I'm definitely trying. It's just like whenever we've had 2.5 years of not making the money that you would expect it to make, and you're losing these, side gigs because of whatever's happening, like due to, shortages or COVID or whatever the hell else is going on, like budget cuts, anything that may be layoffs, it makes it very hard. And at least I can be grateful that I do have like a stable job, to where if anything does happen, I have a job. Like my percentage rates might be a little bit different, but at least there's something that I have. And when it comes to like my demos, marketing, things like that, I hope that I always have something on the back burner no matter what. And that's what I've been doing. And it gets a little bit hard because the area that I live in, I try not to go too far because I don't want to have to waste gas now. We all know gas is stupid ridiculous. Like, it's so disrespectful. I drive like a freaking Nissan Sentra, and I put like almost $50. I think it was like $47 the other day. I was like, this is fucking disrespectful. Like, when did this become real life? That was gross. But anyways, so I don't want to drive far, and I don't want to have to waste gas, and I just don't want to do that. Before, I used to not care. I used to drive far. Like, I used to drive like an hour away just to do a demo. But now I'm like, no, if you're not paying additional for mileage, like, I'm going to stay in my local area. So there's not very many of those. So it's pretty minimal. And I know, like, everybody's going to be like, well, you should take it. It's money, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, well, if they're going to pay me $75 and then I'm going to have to pay like $20 in gas, like, that is no. That doesn't make any damn sense. So I just don't deal with it. Unless it's like somebody really needs help and they're asking me for favors, then I will go and help. Because it's just, I love the people that I work with, and I really like being the one that can come in and fill in the gaps. However, there's a boundary there. There really is a boundary, because even though I won't make as much at the department store is like 5 minutes away. So I can get that done. Yeah, maybe make less. However, I'm not driving. I'm not driving and sitting in traffic for an hour, and I'm not having to, put gas and all this other shit. So that's how I do it. It's probably not what everybody would do, but it's what I would do, just because of the commute and the traffic here in Houston is not the greatest. So that is kind of how all of that's going on, and everybody is just like, you can ask for help, like, ask for help. And I completely agree. Like, I don't have I used to have an ego thing where I was proud. I didn't want to ask for any help. It's just now it's a little bit different. Now I'm like, okay, I am struggling. I do need help. However, I don't want to bring anybody else down with me because of my poor decisions. And because I don't necessarily know when I can pay anybody back. So that is essentially what's going on with that. And so hopefully all of this stuff kind of like plays out and works out well, because I don't want to bring anybody down with me. And that's what I tell my family, and they're like, well, just tell us. And I appreciate that very, very much. But I also love them very much. And it's hard. However, I am being more diligent at work. I'm being more responsible and really stepping up my game and being a team player more than what I was before. I'm trying to change different ways, I communicate with patients, changing the way I start my day, and all of those things. And I'm still trying to figure it out, and what's the best routine or the best approach to my job and my life. I know whatever I choose is probably going to change. That is one thing with me, is the only foreseen inevitable is that there is going to be constant change. I didn't used to be great with change. I'm getting better. However, I sometimes wish that it wasn't that way. And I can get a little bit frustrated and flustered and overwhelmed. But I'd say overall, the last since I've been separated, I'm going to say maybe 3-4 years, I've kind of become adjusted to all the constant change that's been my life. Shit, I've had a lot. I can't even start to discuss all that. Maybe I will. Maybe that'll be next. But for now, this is kind of what I'm going through. I'm just talking myself out of it, making sure that, talking to myself that it's going to be okay, trying to stay positive, doing daily affirmations, and just going with the flow, but also making sure that I have some balance with that flow. Anyways, okay, that was just more of just what has been going on and how I've hoped to change and how I've been changing and how things are starting to look up. I'm still scared, I'm still worried. However, they're getting better, and I'm happy. For now. Until something else crazy happens. But I have a good family, I have a good support system. My boyfriend's great. He helps me as much as he can. So that's great. Everybody helps me as much as they can, so that's great too. Okay. Well, bye.